NBA players who almost died. And at number 10, Damian Lillard was held at gunpoint. It was after a late-night practice, and Lillard was alone, waiting for the bus to go home. 3 men came up to Damian and told him, "Empty your pockets." But Damian said no. And then, the guy pulled out a gun. Lillard said, "I was really scared. I was in so much shock, that I don't think it even processed all the way. All it took was to pull the trigger, and I would have been dead on the spot." Lillard was one wrong move away from having no NBA career. But he decided to empty his pockets. The robbers took the money and let Dame go. Thankfully Lillard made it out alive and without a scratch. But not everyone gets lucky in those situations. Because in number 9, this player had it worse than Damian. As he was stabbed, not once, but 8 times. Paul Pierce was at a club in 2000. He was the star of the Celtics and the girls loved him. There was one girl Pierce was talking to the most, but it turns out that girl had a boyfriend. So the boyfriend shows up and tells Pierce, "Don't talk to her." Pierce, being young at the time, made a pretty bad decision. He decided to get into a fight with the guy. And all of a sudden he was fighting 3 guys. During the fight, Paul Pierce got stabbed 8 times. No, once it was all over with, it's over. I'm standing up. I don't know. I didn't even know I was. After finally getting to the hospital, Pierce kept asking the doctors if he was going to make it out alive. This moment scored Paul Pierce forever, leaving him with physical and emotional trauma. The man who stabbed Pierce was caught and sentenced to 10 years in jail. But in number 8, we see the one player who always avoids drama having a day that turned everything upside down. Because this happened to LeBron James. It's the summer of 2018 and LeBron is a free agent. He signs with the LA Lakers and gets a new house in Los Angeles. A city filled with but also one of the most dangerous places in the world. A group of criminals knew LeBron was moving to LA and they were planning an attack. On October 3, 2018, a small group of gang members went to break into LeBron's house. To steal all his valuable stuff, but also to hurt LeBron. The group was 3 teenagers and 1 older woman, who had a record of stealing millions of dollars worth of jewelry, cars, and cash. But somehow, LeBron found out he was going to be attacked before it happened. So LeBron hired over 10 security guards, including police, protect himself and his family when the burglars made their move and almost succeeded in breaking into LeBron's house. At the last second the police showed up and arrested them and LeBron and his family were safe. The very next day LeBron played in the Lakers game dominating the Kings. It just shows that LeBron is different. But in number 6, Shaq and his best friends were in danger after making the worst decision of their lives. As a young man, Shaq was living in Germany, growing up on a military base. After a late-night party, Shaq's parents died. Shaq's family and his friends decided they wanted to go for a drive. But it was a terrible snowstorm outside. Shaq always joined his friends, so he was about to join them again for this drive. But at the last second, something told Shaq not to go in the car. At the time, Shaq's a leader, so it was really hard for him to say no to his friend, but for the first time in Shaq's life, he made his own decision. Shaq didn't get in the car, but everyone that did, died that night in the storm. He said, "After I realized I needed to be a leader. I can't just follow guys because I'm trying to be cool." But at number 6, Steph Curry did get into the car and things went completely wrong. Steph Curry was driving in Oakland. Out of nowhere Steph Curry crashed his car 3 times. First by one car, then a second car, and those crashes led him to hit the divider on the highway. Steph was driving his $200,000 Porsche, which was destroyed, but that was his last stop. His life was on the line. The police heard the news and they arrived on the scene expecting the worst. But, a miracle happened. After 3 crashes, Steph Curry walked out of the car without a single scratch. Steph recognized a miracle happened here. As he tweeted right after, "And God is great all the time," but in number 5 it wasn't a car crash or even a crime that threatened the life of this superstar. It was something completely different. Grant Hill became a Hall of Fame NBA player. In his prime he was compared to guys like Michael Jordan, but Grant Hill was lucky to make it to the NBA alive. While playing college basketball in Duke, Grant Hill got a nasty bacterial infection, which is usually treatable. But for Grant Hill, it became life-threatening. The infection spread so bad across his body, it became septic. Grant Hill spent the next 6 months on the strongest antibiotic in the entire world, but still things weren't getting better. He even said, "I thought I was going to die at one point. I had surgery here at Duke, and if that didn't work, losing my foot was the next option." Could you imagine? Losing his foot would mean no NBA career. In this moment, Hill decided he was done playing basketball. With his life threatened with all the injuries, it wasn't worth finishing his college season until someone showed up for Grant Hill. It was Coach K of Duke. He came to the hospital. Grant told him, "I'm ready to give up. I almost died because I tried to play basketball. I have a young daughter. It's just not worth it." But Coach K knew his potential and wasn't going to let Grant Hill quit. So he told Grant, "You are going to get back and play." Grant Hill didn't believe him. But the risky surgery was a success. Grant was able to keep his foot and, more importantly, survive the infection. Despite all the odds against him, he went on to become an NBA Hall of Famer. But in number 4, we have a player who was in the most dangerous crash you can be in. So dangerous, it even ended his career. The Bulls just moved on from Michael Jordan, and with their number 2 overall pick, Jay Williams was supposed to be their new franchise player. One of the best prospects to ever touch a basketball court soon could no longer walk. In June 2003, Jay Williams suffered a horrible motorcycle accident, only 1 month after his rookie season. Right after the accident, Jay yelled, "I," and he was talking about his NBA career. A part of his contract with the Bulls was not riding a motorcycle. Which meant, technically, the Bulls didn't have to pay him while he recovered from his injury. If he got hurt playing basketball, they would have to pay him and take care of him. Jay was hopeful he could return to the NBA, but after realizing he couldn't walk, he was losing hope in his NBA dreams, but he didn't stop trying. Jay Williams spent the next 10 years trying to recover from his injuries and make a comeback. 10 years. But the comeback never came. Jay Williams was released from prison, never to play again, making this one of the saddest stories in NBA history. But at number 3, not just one Ball brother, but all 3 of them almost died. The young Ball brothers were in a bad neighborhood playing ball at the gym. Lonzo was by himself, one side of the court, and he heard the other 2 brothers getting into an argument with somebody when all of a sudden the guy that was arguing with them said, all right, I'm gonna be right back." That man returned to the gym with a gun and, using LaMelo's words, shot up the whole gym in a split second. Out of nowhere, LeVar Ball scooped up LaMelo along with his brothers and carried all 3 of them out of the gym. It's a miracle none of them were hurt. And as much as the media criticizes LeVar Ball, we have to give him credit for being a hero. If he didn't come and rescue his kids, quitting hymns, who knows what would have happened. But in number 2, we have a player who almost died in the most unexpected way possible. Nick Young admitted he was afraid of dolphins. That's an odd fear for an NBA player, but if what happened to Nick Young happened to me, I'd be afraid of dolphins too. Nick Young was in Mexico with Andre Iguodala. They went to play with dolphins. For some reason, the dolphin really liked Andre Iguodala. So when it was his turn to ride the dolphin, everything went great. He had a good time. But dolphins can be very attached to certain people. And this one was attached to Andre Iguodala. And the dolphins saw Nick Young as a threat to their relationship. Now it's Nick Young's turn to ride the dolphin. And instead of going in circles, the dolphin dives straight down into the water, taking Nick Young all the way to the bottom. I went on. He didn't go around. He just went straight down. So he was trying to kill me, so. But I seen it happening, so I jumped out the water. This has to be the weirdest way an NBA player almost died. But at number 1, we go from weird to an absolute beast. Tragedy. A tragedy where most people did not survive. But before number 1, we have an honorable mention. Chris Andersen, aka the Birdman. We all remember Birdman for his flashy tattoos and his crazy dunks. But in his personal life, his life was always at risk. In 2006, Birdman was diagnosed with a rare blood infection known as cellulitis. The infection spread through his body and things weren't looking good for Birdman. His condition was so bad, doctors considered amputating his entire leg to try and save his life, which obviously didn't work, would have ended his basketball career. But against all odds, Birdman was able to fight the infection and save his leg. But even though he saved his leg, doctors were convinced his NBA career was over. But Birdman had other plans. Because he returned to the NBA and became an NBA champion with the Miami Heat in 2013. And number 1, we have a train crash. That took the lives of many people. Nikola Vucevic was in this train on January 3, 2006, and something felt wrong. It was moving too fast and kept getting faster. The conductor of the train left the wheel. He told the people it's going to be bad. The brakes on the train had failed and the speed just kept rising. Vucevic closed his eyes and expected. Vucevic opens his eyes, he sees he has some bruises and cuts, but he realizes he's okay. He survived, but not everyone did. 47 people died that day on the train crash. And Vucevic realized he was incredibly lucky to be alive. Now, January 3rd, the day of the crash, Vucevic calls it his second birthday because he realizes that was the day he was given a second chance at life. These are the NBA players who almost died, but what about the 8 most emotional NBA moments? I'll see you guys in